Hey guys, welcome to Wrestling Days and welcome to another Mattel action figure video. In this video, we are going to have a look at BAFs, not baths, BAFs. Build a figure, build a figure. These are so important because some of the people that we're going to look at, some of the superstars, have only been released as a Build-A-Figure. Some of you watching might be asking, what's a Build-A-Figure? I think that's a very good question to ask. Basically, you have to buy all the figures in a certain series and then get each part that comes with it, put them parts together, and you've got a new figure. So Build-A-Figure, it was like a reward for buying all of the figures. They don't tend to do it that often anymore, but they did it quite a bit in the past. So we're going to have a look at, I think, all of the BAFs. I'm not too sure if I might have missed one. Let me know in the comments below if I have, because finding information on these was very difficult. So I'm kind of hoping that this video will help quite a few people. So let's get started, shall we, with this. This is Michael Cole, and this is the only way that you can get an official Michael Cole Mattel figure. How crazy is that? Michael Cole is the voice of Monday Night Raw, and he has been for years and years and years. For whatever reason, Mattel don't feel like a Michael Cole figure would sell if they just released it as a normal basic. So they released it as a Build-A-Figure. If you wanted this Michael Cole, then you needed these SummerSlam Elites. You needed John Cena, Bret Hart, Triple H, and Daniel Bryan. Can we just take a look at that Bret Hart? Look at that figure. That is like modern era Bret Hart. That is what he looks like now. It's not based on him from the 1980s or 1990s. This is like, I think, 2010. Very, very cool. To my knowledge, this is the only time they've released a modern era Bret Hart. Next up, J.J. Dillon. Big name back in the day, back in the 80s, 90s. I know he worked a lot behind the scenes as well. So big name. This was like a WCW series. It was a recent series, actually. This is one of the more recent Build-A-Figures. So if you wanted this J.J. Dillon, you needed to get Sting, Booker T, Lex Luger, and Ric Flair. They were all flashback basic figures. And you can see that is like a WCW series. Very, very cool. Next up, JR Jim Ross. Look at this figure. The only time they have made an official Mattel Jim Ross figure. Absolutely staggering that he has never had his own basic or elite. He is the voice of the Attitude Era. I just feel like a Jim Ross with a commentary table as an accessory would sell. That would sell. People would want that figure. But the only way you can get it is if you get these Toys R Us pay-per-view elites. You need CM Punk, Randy Orton, Curtis Axel, of all people, and Alberto Del Rio. Next up, Paul Heyman. Paul Heyman has had his own basic now. Of course, he is the advocate of Brock Lesnar. So you can get Paul Heyman quite comfortably. But before this basic, you had to get all of these elites. Daniel Bryan, John Cena, Brock Lesnar, CM Punk. They are the WrestleMania 29 elites. And that was the only way you could get Paul Heyman. But as we've said, they have at least now released him as a basic. Next up, Theodore Long. Theodore Long is in the Hall of Fame. This is a Hall of Fame talent. He's been a referee. He's been a manager. I'm sure he's competed in ring as well. He's been a general manager. He's done a little bit of everything. He's been in the business for like over 30 years. And the only way you can get an official Mattel figure is by getting all of these Toys R Us pay-per-view basics. So, Over the Limit Randy Orton, Money in the Bank Alberto Del Rio, No Way Out Dolph Ziggler, and Extreme Rules Brock Lesnar. Next up, again, this is staggering to me. Howard Finkel, the Fink, the greatest ring announcer of all time. Even better than JoJo. Absolutely incredible. Howard Finkel, he'd been working for like 30, 40 years for WWE. And yeah, the only way you can get this official Mattel Howard Finkel figure is by getting flashback basics. Now, thankfully, these were quite recent. These came out last year, so you might be able to find these online or in Walmart still. I think it was a Walmart exclusive. So you need Cowboy Bob Orton, that's Randy Orton's dad, $1 Million Man, Sergeant Slaughter, and Ravishing Rick Rude. Next up, Paul Bearer. Now, Paul Bearer has been a Build-A-Figure twice. He's been in 2 separate series where you can actually build him if you collect the parts. So the first time was Toys R Us pay-per-view basics. You needed to get Daniel Bryan, Kofi Kingston, Dolph Ziggler, and Damien Sandow. The other time was pay-per-view basics again. You needed WrestleMania 30 Neville, Unforgiven Chris Jericho, WrestleMania 22 Undertaker, and Royal Rumble Rusev. All the R's, Royal Rumble Rusev. Thankfully, they have released Paul Bearer as an Elite figure on his own. It's the Hall of Champions figure, so you can easily get that now. That's a recent release as well, so should be easy to find. So no excuses for not having a Paul Bearer. Next up, and I wasn't too keen on this when it first came out, still not keen on it now, Commissioner Shawn Michaels. This is when Shawn Michaels was running the show, yeah, it's a bit bland. It's just a suited body with a Shawn Michaels head on it, so it's hard to get excited for this figure. And it's one of the most recent Build-A-Figures as well. This was in the Flashback Elites, so you needed Stone Cold Steve Austin, Ricky the Dragon Steamboat, Harley Race, King Harley Race, and Jake the Snake Roberts. That Jake the Snake is awesome because it's like mid-90s Jake. So it's different to all the other Jake the Snake Roberts figures that we've had before. Another thing to note was that this was a very limited series. I've seen online people really struggling to find these figures. So this is actually a hard Build-A-Figure to build because it was hard to find all of these figures. Next up, John Laurinaitis. I know that's not a name that might resonate with many people now, but he used to be a general manager for WWE. He's also the brother of Animal out of Legion of Doom and Road Warriors. And I think he's married to the mother of the Bella twins now. I'm sure I've seen him on like Total Divas, Total Bellas. Not that I watch those shows, but I have seen clips of those shows. And also, I do watch those shows. So, John Laurinaitis, if you wanted him, then you need the Toys R Us pay-per-view Elites, Extreme Rules, John Cena, Money in the Bank Sheamus, No Way Out Sin Cara, No Way Out Christian. Just a few more to go through. We've got Booker T. This is Booker T in like his kickoff panel suit. You know, he's always on the kickoff shows, or he used to do commentary as well. So this is a very cool Booker T. You need the WrestleMania 29 figures. You need Sheamus, Alberto Del Rio, The Undertaker, and The Rock. Next up, Mean Gene Okerlund. If you want Mean Gene, thankfully, you can actually get an Elite now. They did release a Flashback Elite. Otherwise, the only way you could have got Mean Gene was by getting these then, now, forever basics. You would have needed Triple H, Seth Rollins, Cesaro, and X-Pac. Next up, Corporate Kane. Corporate Kane. This is when Kane was working with the Authority. So it's basically Kane in a suit. Kind of like what I would imagine he looks like when he's working as a mayor, now that he's a mayor. So if you want Kane as a mayor, Corporate Kane, you need the WrestleMania 30 elites. The Undertaker, Bray Wyatt, Daniel Bryan, and John Cena. The final figure that we're going to have a look at, Build-A-Figure, Ricardo Rodriguez. This was the personal ring announcer for Alberto Del Rio. So, yeah, it wasn't around, like, ages. He was in it for a few years. Yeah, not a name that will resonate with people these days. But he was a fun character, and obviously goes very well if you've got an Alberto Del Rio figure. You need WrestleMania 28 elites, Miz, Shawn Michaels, CM Punk, and The Big Show. And to my knowledge, that is it. That is all the Build-A-Figures, all the BAFs. Not baths. BAFs. Yeah, as I said earlier, let me know in the comments if I have missed any. Awesome, guys. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you found it informative. If you did, give it a like. Hit the subscribe because we've got loads more Mattel action figure videos on the way. And hopefully, I see you again next time. Bye for now.